My name is Greg Poelman. I'm a strategy consultant for Slalom Consulting out of Dallas. So I'm a strategy consultant, which means I get to go out to clients all the time. And most of my engagements are anywhere from 1 month to 3 months at a time. And most of them are in Dallas, but sometimes we do have to travel, like I'm in Nashville now. And it's normally someone who's like a COO or a CIO or a CEO is trying to do something very specific, like acquire new customers or be able to launch products faster. And they have all the pieces in place, but they don't know how to bring it all together. And so the whole point is normally do interviews with all the different leaders who are trying to work towards that common goal. And my job is to be the one who tells the story across the company to help turn it into a strategy, which then the CEO and other people can execute on very clearly. So my job is really to tell the story as well as enhance what they're doing based on what the whole market is doing. So you're kind of like the outside opinion as well as the investigator at the same time. I actually was looking to interview with the company, and then I wasn't sure if I was living in Malaysia, so it's very hard to switch jobs because you need to interview in person. And so my wife said, just buy a ticket and go back, and then maybe the interview will happen when you're back there. And this is across the world. And so I bought a ticket, and I'm sitting in the Japan airport, and I get an interview confirmation on Saturday in the airport. Then I interview on Monday and get a job on Tuesday and then fly back to Malaysia. And so it was pretty miraculous to think that you almost had to act before the opportunity came. Specifically in the work that I do, I am in a professional services industry. So serving is really the heart of what we do, and people serve people in different ways. My mindset is always, how can I prepare myself best to help these people the most? And that's kind of what I think before I go into a project. And then when I go to a project, I try to listen as much as possible so that I can actually help their problems resolved by communicating it clearly to their boss. You're serving them through business tactics, but to make their daily lives a lot easier. At my current stage in my career of about 8 years in, I have to do a lot more that seems impossible, which is kind of the nature of work. And so normally centers around a specific presentation or a specific session that's trying to convince a lot of people of something they don't agree with. And so there's a lot of routine before where I really try to spend a lot of time with the Lord, go for a walk, get coffee, talk, pray, prepare, and just know that the Lord can give you the words or work on the hearts of the people that you're actually communicating to. Because when you're in the actual sessions, it's very hard to remember the Lord's right next to you because you're so focused on leading a discussion. But that preparation before, knowing the Lord will be there with you, gives you peace before. And then after, just looking at what the Lord actually did. And then connecting those two just builds my faith over time. I see how the Lord always shows up without me always knowing, which is very encouraging. LeTourneau helped me prepare in more ways than you know, because it's more than just education. It's more than just knowledge preparation, because there's always somebody smarter. And so if you don't have a foundation in the spiritual walk with the Lord, with your mindset of how, like your worldview, and then the actual knowledge and education to be able to do your job well, like there's kind of multiple layers to the foundation of being able to be effective and still stay strong in your faith in a very secular working environment. So I felt like LeTourneau, in my mind, was building a foundation and equipping me for the unknown were kind of the two things that I thought LeTourneau did the best, because I got the foundation of knowing what the fundamentals are, how to learn, how to communicate, how to present, and even how to lead at some points. But then it's also equipping you with the tools to be able to be prepared for the things that you could never plan for. So that's kind of like the two. It acted as a pretty pivotal time, especially when I got to go to Korea, which LeTourneau allowed me to do, and just even be more prepared for the international environment and how to think about my worldview expanded a lot. I would say the biggest advice I would have to any young Christian professional going into any environment, like it can be a nonprofit or it could be, a Fortune 10 company that's big on the market. The biggest thing I've learned is stay close to God in all your decisions, I think is the biggest one. And they can be decisions that are not just witnessing. It's stay close to God because he helps you be at peace when you need to present an important business message. And then sometimes it's stay close to God because he helps bring up ideas that you never thought about before that actually are great business ideas, because God is actually a very creative person. And so he's not just a spiritual leader, like he's also a creator, and he's also a builder, and he's also a servant leader. And so he always shares those characteristics to me when I need them, if I stay close to him and things I do each day. So for me, it's always about just stories of things that have worked well, with some of the context around the situation of maybe what happened before, how it occurred over time, and where it's at today. Just like understanding all the different ways that the Lord can work, especially in very secular work environments where you're not always sure what difference you can make or what impact you can have. You always feel like sometimes you're on the outside. And so hearing about stories of where it actually worked in a company that's not just Chick-fil-A or something where everyone knows that it's a biblically founded company. Christians in the workplace who are writing about business and life and how to treat people. Really, it's about servant leadership and stuff. And so just seeing all those different examples and kind of trying to relate it to my current situation. What do I need to be prepared with, or how can I be more prepared for when those opportunities actually come up? So I'm not just out on my own doing it and hoping that I'm saying the right thing. If I could give myself advice of just walking out of college and got my first job, and what's the mindset or what should I be thinking as I go in? And I was thinking that the biggest ministry or the biggest encouragement to others is having just the spirit of excellence in the work that you do, being consistent in what you do and say over time, so that you don't lose the impact of your excellent work, and just being kind to people. So I've realized the combination of excellence, consistency, and kindness really can change people. Not just have a moment impact on someone, or not just be someone that you're likable, but that can actually change people to be the true light in a dark place. And that the combination of those is kind of modeling out Christ to people in a dark place. That's what I've realized.
Thanks for listening. For more resources to help you take your faith to work, visit our website at www.centerforfaithandwork.com.